in the Archaic Guyana Free Media, your friend, your brother, HAJI, Dr. ROSHAN, in the saying thank you, farewell, thank you for joining it, dearest friends. But I'm tempted to say farewell, but no. Why am I laughing? Why are you giggling? Wondering? AFC throws blame for election rigging at the PNC's feet. I just got this from the Daily News. Now, the AFC throws blame for election rigging at the PNC's feet. Now, something I don't understand, when this hunger and the lust for power predominates, preponderates, is over tremendous, and it preponderates to control the heart and the mind with gluttony and greed. Do we remember? I was there, ladies and gentlemen. And when it came out that RAMJATTAN tried to speak in this little bit of English kind of imitation of a lower level of legal British kind of slang accent, he said that they were Russians. Three person, and there was communication with Barajak there, and they were speaking to him in Russian because he knows Russian, and there was one Libyan, and they arrested them, one escaped, and two were deported. But RAMJATTAN could never, he couldn't show no photographs, because when you arrest people, you're supposed to take their photographs. He couldn't show no videos, no conversation, no evidence, no ticket showing how they deport, and two of them were deported, one escaped. I mean, this guy, lawyer tell lies for a living. We all need them. Some are honorable, genuine, and most decent and elegant, and so on. But they have to defend their clients according to the precept and the concept of law. But this guy lies so much. I know they have to lie. I know a lawyer who asked me one time, would you lie if you have to? You know, in a matter. So I let him know I don't lie for anything. Now, so this guy tells so much lie. Now, how come AFC throws blame for election rigging at PNC's feet? The thing about it, they don't have the clout to tell the PNC what they wanted ever. They were the PNC's footstool. They were their rag on which they would wipe their shoes when it's filled with filth. They are the ones that will be put to do the dirty job. And Mr. RAMJATTAN, as I have seen and I predicted, that Mr. Nigel Hughes, who appears to be superior as a criminal and civil lawyer with dynamo and legal power, house and law, and a personality of power, and you have a little puny little guy at the side, and you will use that puny guy, the weaklings desperate for a position, maybe for a ministership if they form a coalition or a seat in parliament. You will be used by the powerhouse that leading the party now, and if they have a coalition, you will be used for all the dirty job. So here he's saying AFC throws the blame for election rigging at the PNC's feet, and I feel sorry for that guy. I think his family, his children, if he has, I know he has one son that is well fortified now, since he was Minister of Home Affairs, you know, a nice boy, you know, I mean, I'm young, ambitious personality. The Alliance for Change has begun its 2025 general and regional election campaign in a desperate bid to rebuild its diminished support base, and has sought to distance itself from the attempt to rig the 2020 election by blaming its coalition partner, the APNU. Now, are these people bereft? Bereft means, ladies and gentlemen, without, bereft of shame. But bereft is a powerful word in English language. So it has more drive, more depth, more power. And this is an article taken from Facebook from Daily News. In several small meetings across the country, the AFC has attempted to rebrand itself as a party built on democratic principles while accusing the APNU of tarnishing its reputation in 2020. I tell you, politics is really a terrible thing. But thank God they didn't accuse anybody of eating dogs, cats, catching people boards and ducks, and just eating them away. Next thing you will hear, anyhow, they will be used tremendously, and they will probably be brought in at the last minute. Remember when they left, they were warned they can't vote against the PNC or the APNU. They can't. If they did that, they could lose their seats. So they had to be a nice, sweet boy, enjoying the perks of Parliament and so on, and everything that goes with it. A party official, tell me that it wasn't them. Now, somebody who was listening to the meeting, they had like several bottom house, small time meeting. But how these people, when they go to listen to them and maybe put them in their place and blast them. For the first thing they did to you, the people, when they established and registered themselves, the AFC, they made it, I didn't go, because I wouldn't go and sit knowing that they will collapse and it will be a shame and a disgrace. They had something at Pegasus, I was invited, I didn't go. But they took an oath. The two original leaders and founders, Trotman and RAMJATTAN, Ram. And they took an oath that they will never have a coalition with the PPP or the PNC. And so they took about 9 seats or something? Or more. I think they took more in the beginning. And then when they went with the APNU, they got with the AFC, with the PNC or APNU, they got about 9 seats, some of which was by charity of David Granger, because they need a lucky party. They need a lucky party with a little bit of something so they could give them some blows and so they could use them and make them their footstool. So he's saying, well, accusing the APNU to tarnish its reputation in 2020, yet still they're hoping to go and lickle the toe of Norton, just so they can get a seat and maybe get some perks. Now, a party official who was probably talking, tell me that it wasn't them, the AFC, that tried to rig the election. It was the PNC, but the AFC was forced to support it because it was a coalition. So being a coalition, you got to be a toe sucker. You got to sit down and take the blows and the shame and the disgrace. The AFC was promised that even in the Hartmanston Accord, that they will be the chairman of the cabinet. And when they went in there, they had to shamelessly put their tail between the leg and crawl. And then they had to admit, and Nagamoto had to do that, it's the law, because they were ashamed. It's okay, we accepted, because Nagamoto was supposed to be the chairman, as it is said and alleged and published and so on. Oh, what a pitiful set of people, how they got used. One individual recalled during an interview yesterday, these claims were also referenced by General Secretary of the PPP, Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, who said at the press conference yesterday that the AFC has been telling its supporters that it was the PNC that was responsible for attempting to rig the 2020 elections. But you were there, Ram. I saw you many times defending. I saw you sitting down. I saw you going, hoping and joining up, hoping when the RO, the regional REO, the regional elections officer were going to announce, and so on, and then the quick place was down the road was set for a swearing, You were there, man. You were there. Another resident from Kanchi, Berbice, told Guyana Daily News that an AFC activist was meeting with youths last weekend and told them that it was the PNC alone that tried to rig the 2020 election. RAMJATTAN, Russians. This is not a fake laugh, ladies and gentlemen. Russians, RAMJATTAN, Russians, Libyan. And for Home Affairs Minister, I mean, he was brilliant. You deported them, no document, no paperwork, no photographs, no fingerprint, and you just deported them on one escape when they were talking to Barajagdeo. Boy, I tell you something. You have disgraced yourself so much, and look at what you have become in the party. Look at what you have become in the AFC. My brother, my friend, the old guy I respected, retire, resign, and go spend your time with your wife and family who might have gone through a very difficult time during the terrible period that you served under the APNU cabal who held you down. I mean, you could not have done anything substantial without permission. Now go on again. Another person speaking, them tell them Pickney, that's the youths, that PNC trying for thief the election and them AFC wouldn't do nothing because PNC been controlling everything. She related one of the persons over there. It was everything was PNC, but it was AFC executives, Camera RAMJATTAN, and Katayus, who had made claims that Russians tried to hack Guyana's election, although voting is by paper ballot and not electronic. So that Ram, you must careful, lie to stocks, we should lie to sometimes. I was watching court how they make some terrible mistakes overseas too. And they just talk some nonsense and they get caught. You know, how they could hack if everything is voting by people. I mean, Mingo tried to hack it by using bedsheet. Right? Attempts to deny the will of the Guyanese people in 2020 were made repeatedly by the APNU AFC coalition and were live streamed across television and social media. Parties contesting those elections, local and international observer groups, and thousands of citizens had denounced the attempts to rig the elections. I was one of them. And when I was a member or a board director of the Ethnic Relations Commission, the commissioner, and the United Nations was speaking to us, and they asked what we believe, what's going on. I am the only one in the then ERC who stood up and said, I support the United Nations and I support CARICOM. I'm the only one in all those members that were there, friends and families, ladies and gentlemen, the only commissioner. And many of you in government might not know that, but I am the only one. I was the only one. Standing up and saying, I represent the Muslims of this country, and I wish to state that I agree with the United Nations and all the observer groups. Every observer group carried one head that the election was being rigged. And you know what they did? At the end, they banned the Carter Center. Oh, but the Carter Center must cooperate and understand it's a company's legal, it's a country's legal right to deny. Then we remember one of their ministers went in, I think Minister of Foreign Affairs, was it? Or Minister of Health, went in and met all the foreign delegates, the Commonwealth and so on, and telling them that she has the right, she could cancel all their visas. But she wouldn't do it. And then somehow or the other, the big boy at the office of the presidency got the information and called her quick, and her face changed. And she said, okay, I'm leaving. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to terminate anything, because one of the major officers, I think he was a former Prime Minister of Barbados, was taking up his accreditation and giving it to her. You don't want to say, here, take it. So it was a shameful thing. They were so desperate for that power. Can you imagine if they had that power, what an illegal government would do to stay in power and to brutalize people? For example, what is happening with Maduro and the people of Venezuela, what he's doing to the people, they would have done the same thing to us. The very way one main man and like 3 or 4 other people tried to destroy my business in the then ministry of the presidency, the minister of the presidency, you know. I had to end up laughing them. I didn't die, I didn't suffer. My Lord was to watch over me, and even though you took 93% of my business overnight that I had won by tender, our excellent, I still lived by the mercy of God. I didn't miss one thing, and all my workers stayed with me. I kept all of them. Parties contesting those elections and international observer groups and thousands of citizens had denounced the attempts to rig the polls. Prime Minister of Barbados Mia Mottley had described the attempts to rig the election as transparent. Prime Minister had described the attempts to rig as transparent. You can see through it. Don't mean to rig. That, oh, the election was transparent. No. The attempt was to rig, and I think it was the Prime Minister of St. Vincent? Or St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Or was it Grenada? Who described President Granger as a I'm gonna leave that there. You remember what it was, what it described him as a sanctimonious something. After its failed attempts and the national recount, which showed that the PPP had won by more than 17,000 votes, the APNU AFC then attempted to have the elections invalidated by alleging widespread electoral fraud, keeping this country back five months, causes mass loss and destruction of the economy and pain and suffering, moving from court to court, and then eventually the Caribbean Court of Appeal dislodged their claim. So, RAMJATTAN, APNU AFC, I would have liked to hear what Nigel Hughes is saying when it comes to this. I would have liked to hear what he was saying as it comes to this. You can't tell me that Cathy Hughes didn't know about the rigging. And you know, I like her. She's a nice, brilliant, pleasant personality, good looking, intelligent. But you know, I mean, everybody has an attraction to their political party, or like a religion. So she's attracted to what I see as the wrong attraction. But what can I do? She's a good person, a good human being. I respect and do care for her as a great Guyanese citizen, but in bad politics. Your friend, your brother, me, HAJI, Dr. ROSHAN, can, in the raw. Say thank you. Farewell, French.